It's January 2018. Do you know what that means? It means it's time to update your business website for the new year. Today I'm going to talk about 4 simple things you can do to make sure your website's up to date. Katie Goulet, and I like to make tech things easy so service-based business owners can be online and make a great first impression. You know, I am a web designer, so I know the feeling of, phew, you went through the whole process, you got a new website, you're super happy with how it looks, and then you kind of don't look at it for a while. At least most people I work with, that's the case. Sometimes when we meet again a year later, they've only looked at their website a couple of times during the year. And you know what? There's great in that. Your website should be working for you, but you also need to make sure that it's staying up to date. There are certain things that I can tell immediately when I go to a website that are kind of telltale signs that maybe it hasn't been touched in a while. So I want to talk to you today about 4 things you can do to update your website so it shows that you're invested in your business and you are ready for your customers. The first thing is the copyright. If you scroll to the very bottom of any web page, you will typically see the copyright symbol and a year. Sometimes it's a range, the year that the website began till the current year. Sometimes it's just the current year. Telltale sign that a copyright hasn't been touched in a while is if it's a couple years old. All you need to do, if you have a WordPress site, is to go into the footer and just change the date. If you work with a web developer, they should also be able to put in a code that will automatically change the date for you, or you can work with them to easily update it. It's like a 2-second fix to change your copyright. But if I were you, I would check your website, look at the bottom, and make sure that date is current. The second thing you can do is make sure that your site is secure. Google is very much pushing a concept called SSL. They want to make sure that people using Google and Google pushing them to the sites, they're visiting secure websites that aren't going to give them viruses, that aren't going to be something that they weren't expecting. And so they're encouraging every website to get something called an SSL. And SSL stands for Secure Sockets Layer. So imagine that you were driving down the highway in a car and the car had no windshield. Every piece of debris, every bug would just be flying into your vehicle and causing harm. That's your website without an SSL. An SSL is the windshield on the front of the car that keeps all of the bugs out. They're not expensive. They range from $10 to $90 a year, depending on which one you get. If you have the right hosting plan, you can install an SSL at the click of a button. If you look at my website at the very top, instead of saying HTTP, it should say HTTPS. That S is a sign that that website has an SSL on it. If you're a business that wants to sell anything through your website, you will be required to have an SSL attached to it. Easy installation, low cost, but it secures your website and it secures your visitors from getting anything that might harm them. And so one thing you can do at the beginning of the year is install an SSL on your website or find someone that does websites to install it for you. You can also contact your hosting company, and typically they will also install an SSL for you. I recommend 2 websites that I love. One hosting company is called SiteGround, and the other hosting company is called Flywheel. There's also another hosting company called WP Engine that I only recommend for larger scale businesses. But these hosting companies offer SSL services included in their hosting plan. Literally a click of the button and it secures your site. The third thing you want to do to update your website for the new year is walk through your website, pretend that you've never seen it before, and look at your content. Number 1, do you have years written in your articles or in your copy anywhere? Does it say 2017? Does it say 2016? You want to make sure to update your years. I'm going to probably have to go back and update this video in a year because I mentioned 2018. The second thing you want to look through in your content is your pictures. If you have not updated the pictures on your website in a couple years, chances are things will have changed, especially if there's any technology in the photos. If you have any photos of yourself on a phone or on a cell phone, that cell phone has probably changed in a couple years. So this is your chance to update your pictures along with your content on your website. The last thing I'd encourage you to look at to update your website for the new year is technology. If you haven't updated your website in a couple years, chances are technology has changed and there might be better services. If you're a service-based business owner, there are tons of services now where people can go online and they can book your services right from your website. It's convenient, it's easy, and it saves you a phone call. So this is your chance while you're looking through your website to ask yourself, is there any new technology that I might want to integrate into my website to help my customers reach me more easily? So those are my 4 tips on things you can update for your website for the new year. Update your copyright, add an SSL, look through your content and update it, and research any technology that you might need to add to update your website and make it easier for your customers. Thanks.